Now, on a related note, these recently rising tensions coming in the wake of stalling negotiations between Israel and Gaza following the 11-day war with Hamas back in May. And several Palestinian factions in the Strip are reportedly threatening to renew heavy conflict. Red alert sirens, rocket sirens already sounding in the south earlier today. So what happens next? And is there a way to stop this powder keg from exploding? Joining us to discuss is ILTV reporter Asaf Nissan. Asaf, thanks so much for being with us again.
Thank you as always.
All right, now, first of all, the Palestinians are claiming that this attack was unprovoked by them and that Israel is in fact came into the village of Jenin to kill their citizens with a fake excuse. Could there be any truth to their statements?
Well, from what we're hearing in the news and what we're hearing from the IDF and the responses coming from the ground, this wasn't an unprovoked attack. This was basically an attempt by the border police. As we said, the border police itself was trying to enter the village to do a nightly arrest, something that is pretty regular and pretty standard in many villages throughout the West Bank. It happens when the IDF special forces go inside and do those arrests. But on the spot, they always encounter heavy resistance, whether in Molotov cocktails or stonings, of course.
Right, so according to UN reports, 56 Palestinians have been killed this year alone, this making the death toll the highest since 2016. Why are we seeing a rise in these casualties? Is it because of a rise in opposition, as you explained?
I would probably connect it to the opposition, but also connect it to the ongoing crisis that's going in the PA and in Gaza. And we're still talking about financial, health, and pretty much constitutional crisis because, of course, of the delayed elections, COVID that keeps rampaging in the Palestinian population, the crisis of the financial cut, of course, that you can't ignore, that is bringing people to the verge of violence. So, in the end of the day, I would say these combinations alone would probably add together to the whole lot, and especially with an addition that we saw this morning of a Palestinian actually dressing as an IDF soldier trying to infiltrate the settlement of Eli. But unfortunately, of course, he was identified and was caught with his misappropriation of the dress code, and that, of course, brought him and caught him pretty much doing what he was about to do. But at the end of the day, we're seeing a lot of rise in violence due to the fact that those combination of different reasons bringing to this fourth of cocktail.
All right, so I want to move now to arguably the larger problem here in the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is on the edge of repeating a war, renewing a larger conflict with Israel. As we mentioned earlier, several terror factions in the Strip are convening to discuss renewing these clashes. What might we expect from the renewal?
So basically what we can expect is pretty much, they already laid out a program for it. They said the first would be the marches again, back to the marches on Friday.
So massive riots on the border.
Exactly. And we're
Hamas busing people in, etc.
And of course the renewing of the terror balloons. I mean, the wildfires that we're suffering now in Jerusalem might come back now to the south due to those reasons. And of course, we can't ignore the PIJ already shooting a rocket to Israel. And of course, this is a danger. It's a more imminent danger of anything else, the renewal rocket attack from Hamas and the PIJ.
What might this have to do actually with Qatari aid money? Because I know that up until today, actually, there was a big conflict with how to get that aid to Gaza without leaving it in the hands of Hamas.
So up to today, there was no conclusion, any agreement between either side. But actually, prior to a few hours ago, we heard that Hamas did reach an accord with the UN, that the money will be transferred via the UN, and they will transfer it to the locations that will go to the families in need. Now, again, this can't be promised 100% because we are talking about Gaza, and Hamas could forge and try to take the money to itself. But at the end of the day, bringing it to the UN would probably whitewash the money at some sort, because we are seeing it going through the international aid community. So maybe it wouldn't be that easy to transfer the monies to terror.
Okay, so and just in a word, might the transfer of those funds prevent a conflict?
They could, but they also could just delay it. It could just be a band-aid action, because at the end of the day, Hamas and the PIJ are still going to respond to Israel denying them the money. The fact that it had to go through the UN makes it look pretty much that Israel didn't want to cooperate, and of course they want to retaliate as properly.
All right. Asaf Nissan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.